Welcome to Pigeon River Farm, doing farming right. I'm Robert Braun, the owner of Pigeon River Farm. Thank you for viewing. Well, a pleasant morning from Pigeon River Farm. We're getting into the month of October, latter part, heading toward November. Been a very successful year with the hybrid tractor. I'm really happy. It's worked out great. We've been able to get a lot of tasks done with it. And I'm now starting to get some of the early data that I've collected on seeing an overall performance. The overall performance has been very interesting. I would say very positive, but we'll say very interesting. As an example, a heavy load condition where I'm raking hay, I was using doing around 5 acres, I used 4.5 kilowatt hours, and I also used 2.1 gallons of gas. So for doing the same task, so in 2 different fields, like type, this is just one raw example. Another one, trimming fence line. We've done a significant amount of trimming of fence lines. In that particular case there, on one particular task, I went ahead and I used 1.2 kilowatts of energy trimming 3 pastures, and equivalently I used 0.8 gallons of fuel. And then I was also doing liquid spraying, so I'm spraying an organic fertilizer on, and that is just simply the weight of the sprayer. The pump takes virtually no power whatsoever to run, and in that particular case I used 3.8 kilowatts of energy, electric, and 1.9 gallons of fuel. So giving me points of reference. The thing with that I learned, early takeaway, was the thing with the tractor is sizing it. And we all know that anybody who works in the field, you don't use the biggest tractor to pull a little hay wagon around, and vice versa. If you take your smallest tractor and try to do a large load with it, it's going to be substandard and use a lot more fuel. So optimization of the gasoline or diesel engine is critical. Well, the same thing applies with the electric. Optimization for utilization. And what early strategy that I determined was under light load conditions where the engine would be very inefficient, but the electric motor is going to be extremely efficient. By levels of magnitude, the electric wins. On the flip side of that, under heavy load conditions where we're getting the engine into the optimum condition, in that particular case, in this case the gas engine exceeds the electric. So that's kind of the early takeaway. I'm going to have more when I do the final report on it. So things that additionally that I learned with it was the extreme slow operation for doing finite work is perfect with the electric. The flip side, the way this is configured, I have no clutch. So the old technique of sliding the clutch and getting up to your rated RPM speed that you're going to need is quite different. You're starting out direct drive at 0 RPMs, and then the rate at which you accelerate that electric motor to get to the rated governed speed. So the point when I get this to the point that would be equivalent to the point here, so them two are linear. So if I'm going to go for, say, 1500 engine RPM equivalent, so that would be 1500 engine RPM here, or we'll say the equivalent, or another way of looking at it is 540 PTO speed. So you have points of reference. So as an example, if I'm started out in second gear to do a task and I may be running at maybe 1.5 miles per hour, in the case of the clutch, I'm there almost instantaneous. Where in the case of the electric, it has to do with my settings. I have a multitude of settings on here, and them settings are utilized to generate the rate of change. In other words, 0 to the rated, in this case here, 4,000 RPM on the motor, electric motor. That is kind of a critical thing. So tuning it. One thing I've learned, and that next thing is going to be having better interface. The interface right now is down in the control box, and I can make global changes. I could see having more of a real-time adjustment to make them changes. So again, the feature creep, that's the downside, is the feature creep can engage very quickly. But as it works right now, I'm extremely pleased with it. The performance has been, I would say, above my expectations. I would say the downside is I did not go with lithium-ion batteries. They would have busted the budget all the way around. So lead-acid batteries have performed well, but I could just envision being around lithium-ion and other technology in the modern batteries. The performance of this would probably be extended just using up the current space that's on here. I would say probably 4x, maybe greater for distance, but that comes with a very stiff price at the current cost of the lithium-ion batteries. So lead-acid batteries have worked really good. They're tried and true, so I didn't have that big variable. Anybody who's had an electric golf cart knows how it works. It's exactly really what I have right here is a glorified electric golf cart from a battery perspective. The electric motor, on the other hand, is very, very powerful. To reiterate the point of earlier, what I found was the electric motor, it can maintain almost any power that I would need. It's going to be the duration of the batteries. So leaving it detuned at approximately 20 horsepower has really done a nice job of extending my range, yet giving me the performance. This has never been intended to pull a plow or a disc or anything. It's intended for utility level work. Could do higher level work, but right now I based it on all the tasks that I currently perform with this particular tractor on the farm. And as I said, it's going to be raking hay, it's going to be tedding hay, it's going to be trimming fence lines because I have miles of fence lines, and it's going to be putting on liquid fertilizer and dry fertilizer. Them are its primary tasks that it performs, and then occasionally pulling a wagon or moving some bales. So I guess there's a few others. This tractor is used from spring till late fall, and it's used pretty heavy. This has been my tractor of choice in use for decades and decades now. This one I guess I wore a spot in the seat here. The difference is, like most farmers, I have large horsepower tractors and I've got little tractors. This one just fits my needs very well. Yours may be different. But just to prove out the technology, I am pleased. Preliminary results are economically viable. Actually pretty impressive. I will be disclosing the actual cost numbers later on consumption of fuel versus consumption of energy. And then there's going to be the two models. One is when they pull in from the grid at about 14 cents a kilowatt hour, and then it would be the energy available that particular day and how much energy I produce, my 10 kilowatt system, in relationship to the amount of work that I did. So that is going to be a correlation that I have to determine. So this is my report to this point on a hybrid tractor performance. If you have any comments, please leave them, and please subscribe, and have the most wonderful day.